Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder how all this digital money stuff, how it actually connects to the real world, or like how a smart contract finds out if your flight got canceled, or even just the price of gold right now? Today, we're diving into Chainlink. You hear the name, but what is it? Well, it's quietly securing, get this, over $93 billion in assets. And it's enabled something like $25 trillion in transactions. It's kind of the invisible bridge connecting these isolated blockchains to pretty much everything else. We've gone through a ton of material, articles, research papers. Our own notes just boiled it down for you.
Exactly. And our mission today is simple. Cut through the tech speak. We want to unpack what Chainlink really does, its main idea, and most importantly, how it actually impacts you. We'll use some hopefully relatable examples to make sense of how it all works. Consider this your shortcut to understanding a really key piece of the digital puzzle.
Okay, let's jump in then. To really get Chainlink, we need to start with the problem it's trying to solve. I always picture these smart contracts, these little bits of code, living in this super secure, like sealed vault. That's the blockchain, right? Great for keeping things safe inside. But what happens when it needs outside info? Like you said, the price of gold or flight info, or even just the weather. How does it get that reliably into the vault?
That is the fundamental challenge. It's called the oracle problem.
Hmm.
Blockchains, well, they're designed to be deterministic, basically totally self-contained and predictable based only on what's inside them already. They can't just reach out to a normal website or a database and pull in external or off-chain data securely. It's just not built into their core design.
Right, it would kind of break the whole security model, I guess.
Precisely. Think of it like a super secure computer that can't connect to the internet. This really limits what smart contracts can actually do. You can't build useful finance apps if they don't know real-time prices, or insurance contracts if they don't know if an event happened. So without a trusted way to get that outside data in, smart contracts are stuck in this bubble. They can't really interact with the real-world data needed for finance, insurance, logistics, you name it.
Okay, so they're stuck in their secure rooms.
Yeah.
How do we get that vital outside information in safely without, just trusting one single source that could be wrong or hacked? Seems tricky.
And that's where Chainlink comes in. It's actually a really clever solution. Think of Chainlink like a highly trusted, super smart personal assistant for these smart contracts, or maybe a universal translator. Its main purpose is to be a decentralized network of these oracles. So not just one assistant, but many. They act as a secure, tamper-proof bridge connecting those isolated blockchains to all that real-world data.
Okay, a decentralized bridge.
Yeah. So this assistant network goes out, gathers info from lots of different reliable places, verifies it really carefully, checks it against other sources, and only when they reach an agreement does it bring that accurate, untainted data back to the smart contract in a format it can actually understand and trust.
Ah, okay, so it's not just fetching, it's verifying too.
Exactly. Verification is key. And this massively expands what smart contracts can do, turns them from simple, isolated programs into powerful tools for really complex stuff. Sergey Nazarov, one of the founders, even described their goal as becoming like the AWS for Web3, a foundational layer for everything.
That personal assistant idea helps, but I'm still thinking about that single point of failure. If it's a committee, couldn't they become the new weak link?
Yeah.
How does Chainlink actually avoid that? How does it really work under the hood without just shifting the trust problem?
That's a really important question, and you're right to ask it. Chainlink isn't actually a blockchain itself. It's more like a layer of services that runs on top of many different blockchains. Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Solana. It's designed to be compatible across the board.
Okay, so it's multi-chain.
Right. And the core idea is these decentralized oracle networks, or DONs. So instead of one entity, picture that committee you mentioned, but made up of many independent, globally distributed, and carefully vetted data providers. These are the nodes.
Okay, lots of independent nodes.
Exactly. When a smart contract needs data, say, the price of Ether, it sends a request out to one of these DONs, this committee. Then comes the data fetching and aggregation. Each node in that DON independently goes and gets the Ether price from multiple sources, like from Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, maybe 10 different places.
Ah, so not just relying on one exchange price.
Not at all. They bring all those prices back, compare them, and usually calculate a median value. This automatically throws out any weird outliers. Maybe one source is lagging or even trying to manipulate the price. This makes the final result incredibly accurate and resistant to bad data or faulty nodes.
Okay, that makes sense. Strength in numbers and diversity of sources.
Precisely. Now, having every single one of those nodes report back to the main blockchain would be super expensive, right? All those transaction fees.
Yeah. Gas fees can be crazy.
So they use something called off-chain reporting, or OCR. This is really efficient. The nodes in the Dawn actually talk amongst themselves off-chain, outside the main blockchain, to agree on the final aggregated price. They reach a consensus there. Once they agree, only one node needs to send a single transaction back to the blockchain, containing that verified price, signed cryptographically by the committee.
Oh, clever. So they sort it out amongst themselves first, then just send one update.
Exactly. Saves a ton on gas fees and makes the whole process much faster.
Okay. Danons, fetching aggregation, OCR. What else? You mentioned something about connecting different chains.
Right. For more advanced stuff, there's the Cross-Chain Interoperability Protocol, or CCIP. Think of this like a super secure highway system connecting different blockchains. Allows you to send assets, messages, basically anything safely between, say, Ethereum and Avalanche, or Polygon and Solana.
Like a universal bridge for blockchains.
Kind of, yeah. But what makes CCIP stand out is its focus on security. It has this defense-in-depth approach, including a whole separate network, the risk management network, that acts like an extra security checkpoint. This makes it potentially much more robust than many of the standard bridges out there that have, frankly, had some issues.
Wow, okay. That's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Mhm.
But it sounds like it's designed to be really robust. So let's bring this back down to earth. What does all this complex tech actually mean for us? How does Chainlink make our digital lives better or safer or maybe just more interesting?
Great question. Because it really does filter down into practical benefits you might already be seeing, or definitely will soon. First off, safer digital finance, or DeFi. If you ever use decentralized lending platforms like or Compound, Chainlink's price feeds are working constantly in the background.
How so?
They ensure the value of the collateral you put up is accurate second by second. This prevents you from getting unfairly liquidated if there's a sudden false price dip on one exchange. And we're talking serious scale here. Over $93 billion in assets are secured by Chainlink right now. And it's enabled over $25 trillion in transaction value. That's a huge amount of trust placed in it.
93 billion secured.
Wow, okay.
Think about fairer games and NFTs. Ever play an online game with random drops or wonder if an NFT mint was really random?
Yeah, you always wonder if it's rigged somehow. Well, Chainlink has something called Verifiable Random Function, or VRF. It provides a provably fair, tamper-proof source of randomness. So games like Axie Infinity use it for breeding. NFT projects use it for assigning rare traits. You can actually verify the randomness wasn't manipulated. No more worrying about digital dice being loaded.
That's actually pretty cool. Verifiable randomness.
It also enables automated convenience. Imagine your crop insurance automatically paying out the instant verified weather data confirms a drought hit your area. No paperwork, no delays.
Okay, that sounds useful.
Or setting up a trade order that executes automatically the exact moment an asset hits your target price, even if you're offline or asleep. That's Chainlink automation making things happen based on real-world triggers. And maybe the biggest long-term impact is connecting traditional banks to the future. This is huge. Chainlink is actively building bridges for traditional finance, what they call TradFi. They've partnered with Swift, the network basically all international bank transfers use.
The Swift network.
Yep. They're working to connect those 11,000 plus banks to basically any blockchain using CCIP. Imagine sending value across blockchain networks as easily as sending a Swift message today. They're also working with the DTCC, the massive U.S. clearinghouse that handles quadrillions in securities, to tokenize things like mutual funds.
Quadrillions, wow.
And collaborating with major banks like JP Morgan, MasterCard. Even the U.S. Department of Commerce is using it to put economic data on-chain for transparency. So this could make your future banking and investments way more efficient, transparent, and accessible, powered in part by Chainlink.
So it's not just crypto native stuff. It's actually bridging into the traditional financial world in a big way.
Absolutely. And one more thing, verifying trust. They have a service called Proof of Reserve, or CORE. This lets projects like stablecoins automatically prove in real time that they have the actual reserves backing their tokens. So you can have more confidence that the digital dollar you hold is truly backed one-to-one.
That seems incredibly important for trust in stablecoins. Okay, this paints a picture of Chainlink as like essential plumbing for the future Internet of Value. Really powerful stuff. But no project is perfect, right? With something this critical, there must be risks or downsides. What should we be aware of when we look critically at Chainlink?
That's a very fair point. Building critical infrastructure like this definitely comes with huge responsibilities and, yeah, risks too. Probably the most debated one is centralization risk.
Ooh, how so? I thought the whole point was decentralization with the Dons.
Well, yes, the Oracle networks are decentralized, but the core development team, the strategic decisions, control over key network upgrades, and even some important security mechanisms like certain multi-signature contracts.
Mm.
A lot of that power still rests with Chainlink Labs, the company behind Chainlink.
Ah, okay. So the company itself still holds a lot of control.
Exactly. It operates on a 4 of 9 multisig for some critical functions, meaning 4 out of 9 specific signals, largely linked to the core team, need to approve certain changes. Some argue this reliance on a single entity kind of goes against the whole decentralized spirit of blockchain.
Okay. I can see how that's a concern. What else?
Then there's the tokenomics and transparency around the LNK token itself, a pretty big chunk of the total supply. Something like 41.2%, maybe between 35–40%, depending on how you count, is held in wallets controlled by the Chainlink team and related funds.
Okay.
And the main issue here is there isn't a clear public schedule for when or how these tokens might be sold or used. This lack of a defined unlock schedule creates uncertainty for investors, worries about potential large sales hitting the market unexpectedly.
Right, that lack of clarity could make the market nervous.
Definitely. Another huge one, given its success, is systemic risk for DeFi. Because Chainlink secures so much value, that $93 billion figure again, it's become what some call a central point of failure for the entire DeFi ecosystem.
Meaning if Chainlink fails.
It could be catastrophic. A major bug, a sophisticated hack, maybe even collusion among node operators, though that's hard. Any major failure could trigger a wave of incorrect prices, wrongful liquidations, and potentially bring down many DeFi protocols that rely on it.
That makes it a massive target for attackers, I'd imagine.
A very, very attractive target. And while Chainlink is the biggest player, there is growing competition. It's not the only Oracle solution out there. You've got projects like Pith Network focusing more on high-frequency data directly from sources like exchanges, and API 3, which has a different model where data providers run their own oracles directly. These competitors are gaining ground in certain areas and could challenge Chainlink's dominance over time.
So they need to keep innovating.
Absolutely. And finally, there's always regulatory uncertainty. As Chainlink becomes more embedded in finance, especially traditional finance, it attracts more regulatory scrutiny. Is the LNK token a security? Will networks like this face strict KYC/AML rules?
Like the banks they're partnering with have to follow.
Exactly. New regulations could definitely impact how Chainlink operates, especially those crucial TradFi partnerships.
Okay, so centralization concerns, token transparency, systemic risk, competition, and regulation. Definitely things to keep an eye on. So if we had to boil Chainlink down for everyone listening, just a quick takeaway, what's the core idea to remember?
What's fascinating here is Chainlink is essentially that vital, secure bridge. It connects blockchains, which are naturally isolated, to all the real-world data and systems they need to be truly useful. It's the key enabler for the next wave of crypto applications and, importantly, for bringing big financial institutions into the space. But it does face real challenges around its governance structure and tokenomics that it needs to navigate to really cement its place as neutral foundational infrastructure for the long run.
That's a great summary. It really has been an incredible deep dive. It's so much clearer now that Chainlink isn't just another crypto coin. It's fundamental plumbing for this whole digital economy that's being built, connecting worlds.
Indeed. And its future story will likely be about finding that balance, the balance between moving fast, which maybe needs some centralization, and achieving that true, neutral, decentralized public utility status that many believe critical infrastructure should have. How it manages that evolution while keeping up its innovation pace, that's going to be really interesting to watch. It'll tell us a lot about where this whole digital economy is headed.
This is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into simple pieces and want more reviews just like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox. We do all the complex research so you don't have to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Chainlink. We really hope this gave you a much clearer, more confident picture of what it is and why it matters. Until next time.